Hi, my name's Katie. Today I'm going to show you how to make this card. The gold foil on top, the gold embossing powder. It gives it a really classy look, a very elegant look, but this card is actually very easy to make. So let's get started. Fall is the time when we celebrate Thanksgiving and gratitude, so the pumpkin imagery on here. The stamp set that I use, though, is not a Thanksgiving stamp set. It's not even a fall stamp set. I use Stampinup's Petal Pallette stamp set. It's not a Thanksgiving set, but it's got the right imagery for what I needed on this project. It's got these beautiful roses, some lovely foliage, this cute little bird up here in the corner, and then lots of beautiful fonts. I like the fonts in this set, the mixture of the classy scripty fonts with the more block letter sorts of things. I also like this element at the bottom. So for my fall stamp, this was what I thought made a good imagery for the dirt at the bottom of the card. I'm also using two different stamps for sentiment stamps, the thank you and the for everything. And the placement of these two to get them parallel to each other and level with the page was a bit tricky. So next I'm going to show you one of my favorite tools. I'm going to be using the Stamparatus, which is a stamp placement tool, in order to make sure that these two are parallel with each other and parallel with the edge of the page. So I'm going to use it for this part of the thing also. Now, this is Stampinup Stamparatus. For those of you who are not familiar with the stamp positioning tool, they work really easily. You simply have a hinged surface on which to mount your stamps instead of mounting them on a clear block, and that way you can line them up on your paper before you actually do the stamping. Now I'm ready to place the stamps. I want to ensure that they're going to be parallel with the edge of the paper, and so I'm going to do a test stamp. Since this is on black, I'm actually have cut down a piece of white paper that I can use instead. Placing the stamps on the stamping plates is really super easy. I am going to come back and add a little bit more ink and stamp it on the scrap piece of paper, because I'm going to use that image to help me mount the other one. Now, I do have the issue with this particular set and the use of two different stamps to make sure that I am not only have room for the two stamps and get them level, but also that I have room for one stamp to fit next to the other one. All right, so you can see that I sped that up just a little bit so you didn't have to watch me do all the exact positioning. All right, so here's my piece of paper, and I do have it open flat. I haven't scored it yet, but because I've already placed these stamps exactly where they're supposed to be on my final project, I'm not worried about not seeing that crease in my paper. Off camera, I cleaned my stamps because I'm going to be using Versamark, and if you're wondering about these silly little labels on the front of it, it's because I do classes locally. So if you happen to be local to the southern part of Wisconsin, you could check out my event schedule if you're interested in attending a class. All right, here's why I love this tool. If you don't have a stamp positioning tool already, you need to get one. This is just amazing. Look at this. I stamped the one stamp. I don't even have to take the time in between. I stamped the other stamp. They're both ready to go. Imagine how fast that's going to be when I'm making 6 of them. I've got my gold embossing powder all ready to go here. All right, I'm going to heat set this off camera. All right, so look how gorgeous that is. That's really going to pop when we put the whole card together, that gold against the black. Now, I was very brave. I should have folded it before I sprinkled the embossing powder, but look at that. That's the advantage of using a stamp positioning tool. I had lined it up with my card piece to be right at the edge, and when I fold my card, it's just perfect. If you don't have a stamp positioning tool already, I'm going to put a link below, and you can check it after the video to add one to your supplies. All right, now we're ready to put the rest of the card together. All right, I've assembled the rest of the tools that I need to finish off this card and to show you the parts that I created for it. You may have noticed the dusty, dirty look on the front of the pumpkins, and I did that just by sponging on a little bit of crumb cake ink, or excuse me, soft suede ink. Went with a little darker imagery on here. sponging on here, and then I'm going to mount these two, one on each other and one just a little bit lower. All right, so now I'm ready for my stem. Just to reaffirm in terms of the tools that you would need, if you're wondering where I got the ovals from, you know, whatever you have that makes an oval, just pointing out that Stampin' Up! Does have a set of oval dies, and I used this one right here, which I will mount correctly. I'll have a link to this set of oval dies at the end of the video. And if you're wondering where I got this leaf, you know, in the gold foil, Stampin' Up! Sells the gold foil, and I will give you a link to that. This is the punch that I used. So our card is almost finished at this point, but because it's a black card and I want to write something inside, I need to create an inside piece. And in going back to the same stamp set that I was using, I decided that these could make a very nice fall image of leaves. And I actually liked this one since this card is all about gratitude and Thanksgiving. Life is so much better with you in it. I've decided to incorporate these into the card, and I'll show you how I did that. I was playing around with my sample piece where I had tested the placement of the thank you for everything to see how those leaves would look, and I do like the look of that, so I'm going to show you how I got that. So when I stamped this piece, because I didn't catch the whole stamp, part of the stem is off. That's the reason I cannot snug my paper right up in the corner. I actually placed it down a little bit. I also didn't want to get this dirty by having that piece be inked and stamp off the edge. So I've got just a little piece. Actually, Stampin' Up! Sells these in a pad, but you could cut down any piece. So I'm going to stamp my white piece and place it right here 2 inches down, I think. All right, so I'm going to ink up, and I actually stamped off for that first one because I didn't want, that was going to be like too dark. One. Take them from the hinge and move them down one. Oh my gosh, is this just like amazing slick? How fast is that? All right, and here's the other reason why I love this Stamparatus. I've got this piece mounted, and you've only got so many plates. I'm just going to whip this around and use the back side of it for my sentiment here. All ready for a sentiment. So there we are. There's our finished project. The outside, the inside, ready to go. I will put links down below to the product that was used on this. And if you have any questions about this project, please feel free to email me. And please feel free to leave comments. And if you like this project, please feel free to share. Thank you.